What's going on, everybody? It has been a minute, but we're back for another episode of the Crankcakes Lex podcast. We got a full crew. We had a week off trying to recuperate and just kind of get our minds right. And I'm glad we did, because if we had done an episode last week, we would have had to talk about a really, really miserable loss. But now we get to talk about a dominant win. So, balance. The universe is about balance, and we're here balancing things out. Being as we have the whole crew, though, before we get into this, let's do some check-ins. Dylan, you got a new addition to the family.
I do. I don't know if you can hear him. He's
Yep.
I
barking
can
right
hear
now.
him, and
Yeah,
I love it. He's cheering us on.
yeah. He um, he's awesome. I love him so much. We got him last Thursday. We got him from the Humane Society. His name's Ollie. He's a black lab, and I love him so much. He's a good dog. Yeah, I mean, like it. You know, he's a puppy, so we're going through all
Yeah.
like the puppy phase elements and stuff, and it is exhausting. Like we have like shifts through the middle of the night where we have to like wake up at like 12, 3, and 6. So yeah, we're going through the whole process, and it's very exhausting, but it's definitely worth it. I mean, you guys all have dogs or have had dogs, right? So you know this, but like when your dog can nail a trick down, like you're like, oh, you feel so proud of them, You're like, oh my God, that's
It's
my
cool.
boy.
And then they turn around and do something like Bruce would do, and he used to when he was a little puppy. He would poop in my wife's shoe. And then
Oh my God.
he did that a couple times, and I'm like, "What the heck, man? Like that takes precision, and why? That seems diabolical. Like you intentionally did that." But you're
And-
right, man. Like whenever they do a cool trick, it's dope.
hmm
And I'm sure I know you guys had been talking about dogs for quite some time, but I feel like Melody
Lit the fuse, right?
Yeah,
Melody's a good pup.
for the
She's a
listeners,
really good
I
dog.
watched Jess's dog over the like last weekend while Jess was away on vacation with her family, and her dog definitely swayed us for sure. Definitely had some sway.
Helps that she's an
Yeah.
awesome dog.
Yeah. She
Oh,
is an
she is.
awesome dog.
Melody's awesome. I love her. She's great. Kyle, what's up with you, man?
Not much. Sorry, I missed the last pod, or maybe the last couple pods at this point, but glad to be on, and excited to hear more about the latest Lexington Sporting Club insider information from Jess and Dylan. But yeah, it's been great. I'm wearing my Crystal Palace kit. It's been a turbulent 24 hours from winning a extremely meaningful community shield that some people are kind of bummed about not being like involved in, but like obviously it's like super prestigious, and some people call it like the
greatest
biggest
trophy
trophy you
ever.
can win.
Yeah.
Definitely not a preseason throwaway, nothing. And then of course Crystal Palace with if you're following the drama of them getting booted from Europa League because of the multiple ownership um, clause or whatever they call it,
Mm-hmm.
their appeal was denied. So bad news for Crystal Palace fans. And yeah, so it's just been a 24-hour cycle. I did send you all some pictures too. I went to check out FC Cincinnati, hosted Charlotte last night, so Sunday night as we're recording this, and fantastic atmosphere. I'm sure a lot of folks around here, soccer folks, have been up to TQL Stadium, but if you get a chance to go, I mean, they just seems like it's all done the right way, and it was a sellout crowd. Had a giant tifo. It was their 10th anniversary of like the club forming, so it was a pretty
Cool.
big celebration. But yeah, it's always fun to go. Like I've obviously been to Louisville Stadium quite a bit. That was my first time checking out FC Cincinnati, so yeah, I was very impressed, and I got to see Wilfried Zaha, Crystal Palace legend, score a goal, and
Nice.
home fans were upset. The officiating was atrocious, and I was like, they're just like us, like
Yeah.
everyone's got bad games. So
Level doesn't
yeah, it
matter.
was fun. Yeah, so it was part of a work thing I was up there for, but it was cool just doing some scouting, seeing other stadiums and how other clubs operate. Very, very awesome atmosphere, especially for a Sunday night, like right before school. I know
Mm-hmm.
we'll talk more about attendance and things like that, but yeah, it was very impressive. So yeah, that's been my recent soccer escapades.
TQL was on my list. I haven't been there yet.
I haven't either.
But I really want to go because it looks amazing.
Parking
Same.
was an awful experience. Like bad
Sounds very Cincinnati.
job parking. Yeah. But
Everything
it's, you know, it's in
Cincinnati's
the
bad parking.
yeah, it's in that, like they call it like the OTR, the over the Rhine area, like where Rhinegeist
Mhm.
is, kind of that north side.
Yeah.
It's a cool area, but like, yeah, it just the parking was a problem. But once we figured that out, once you get into the stadium, I mean, it's just for North America. I'm guessing it's, you know, it's got to be up there in terms of just awesome atmospheres for for the home team. So um, it was cool. A lot of pyrotechnics before the match, fireworks, and all kinds of stuff. So they really did it big for the 10th anniversary, and glad I was there to catch it.
That's
That's
cool.
dope. Jess, what's up with you?
Not much. I'm trying to think back on the week. I mean, other than
cleaning out Costco to bring supplies for teachers.
Heck yeah, man.
You showed up big. We came with our like little bags.
We had a
you had your like full cart.
And
yeah.
And this isn't me bragging. I know it comes off braggy, but I just want to be able to support the teachers. And I know, I feel like that's a small way to be able to bring extra school supplies. I feel like it's such a small thing, but I feel like it makes a big difference. Just getting ready for school, having fun at the game on Saturday and being home with the kiddos and just reading a bunch.
Yeah.
Just chilling.
Hey, that's the way to do it. And, you know, working in education, that's no small thing. That's something to brag about because there's so many people that are like, you want a box of tissues to be donated? What are you talking about? And I'm like, well, your kid is snotty 24/7. So he will be using it. But no, seriously though, like it is nice whenever like parents are like, look, let me help you out because otherwise it does fall on us. We have to just go buy that stuff out of our own money and we don't make that much money. So we want to make sure kids have what they need. And so it's always helpful whenever parents do donate that type of stuff and just kind of make sure that we have what we need for the kids to have what they need. So 2 claps for Jess. Golf claps. But really loud. I'm not going to clap loud into the mic because people will be like, oh, my eardrums. That's dope. Yeah, well, good. Everybody's got a little bit of something going on. We had our last game for Rec League Soccer. I went out with a bang. Or more like a snap, crackle, pop. I don't know. Tore my hamstring. I'm dying. That's why I have a change of scenery if you're watching the video version because I cannot sit in my normal chair because my hamstring has been ripped in half. So that's a great time. So we will, I don't know, somehow, some way I will recover. Right now I'm on crutches and every 5 seconds somebody's like, what happened to you? And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to like record it. Like listen to the tape.
Or just wear one of those like name badges and says I tore my hamstring. Stop
playing rec league soccer, doing something I shouldn't have done as an out of shape 36-year-old dad. That would be a big sign so everybody can read it from far away.
I think rec league soccer is like pretty far down there, like the things I want to admit to people, like that I got super injured playing, rec sports.
But let's be real. The teams we were playing, as we've pointed out, were not beginners.
Yeah.
As the league claimed it was for. They claimed it was a
not even
social
casual
club for beginners. And what we experienced was not that.
No. We're like, hey man, you scored 8 goals. Like, have you played before? And they're like, oh yeah, it used to be D1 2 years ago. I'm like, oh, all right. Yeah, that makes sense. Why my hamstring ripped in half chasing you. I would do
our
it.
team hasn't touched a ball in a decade,
Yeah. And we're like, oh, let's just go have fun. And no, everybody was like, we're going to put a stop to that right now, sir. Like, you will not be having fun today. No, we did have fun, though. It was a good time, even though we got pummeled. And now I'm on IR, which I guess is fine because the season's over and it doesn't matter anyway. But we'll see how quickly I can recover from this. I have to say it was probably a bad decision. Somebody asked my wife, they're like, if Tyler had like 10 chances to go back and redo that, how many times would he have stopped himself? And Tasha's like, none of them. He still would have done it.
Yeah.
He still would have chased that guy down and ripped his hamstring. Hey, but you know what? That guy didn't score because of it. Although I don't know if it's really worth it in the end, but in my mind, I'm going to say it was worth it. So we're on road to recovery slowly but surely. It's just like those little things, you know?
When people say, like leave it out on the field, Tyler literally left his hamstring out on the field.
I did. You know, and maybe subconsciously I did it in my brain for all those times that we like have a like random player here and there that's like, I don't know if they were trying all that hard during this match. Now I have a leg to stand on, just one. Whenever I say, hey, yeah, like I did that for rec soccer. I paid to get my hamstring torn for my team. Like, you're getting paid. Let's see that hustle. No, but it was a bad decision in hindsight. But I will be back maybe in a year. Everybody's asking me if I'm going to play again, and I'm like, I'll do it again. I'll do it
in a heartbeat. Maybe mix in some stretching. Like
I did
mix
stretch.
in a couple.
I stretched.
Did you?
I did. You guys were arguing with the ref
stretch
about that red card thing. I stretched. I was stretching.
Yeah, I was trying to get my boy out there to play, but
that was frustrating.
Refs weren't having it. So
no, we're not going to get into
I mean,
that.
it's a big platform for those refs. Like, next step is basically MLS. So I mean, they got to be super hardcore about it. So it makes sense. I mean, hat tip to them.
The Premier League is scouting for refs right here in Lexington.
Yeah.
So,
right.
You're being sarcastic, right?
No, not at all.
You're being 100% serious. This guy was on the cusp of a career-defining game, and we almost took it from him.
With his Ray-Ban shades on. Like, come on, dude. What are we doing?
That he, like, slid down casually to go talk to our teammate. He's like, look, man. Look here, fella. You're not going to tell me that I missed that call. Yeah. Here, guy. Anyway. Man, then we could make a whole episode about this dude. But we won't.
For real.
So anyway.
Hopefully he listens. Shout out to that guy. Big fan.
Yeah, I know, right? Good, great job not riffing. And we'll just leave it at that. But that's okay. We got plenty of good news with LSC right now. First off, let's talk, because as of recording, this is Monday night, so it's fresh. It just now happened. Kyle wasn't able to make it out. I was not, because my leg felt like it was being mauled by a grizzly bear, so I needed like a place to just go hide and cry a little bit. So I didn't get a chance to go like I wanted to. But Dylan, Jess, you guys made it out to the LSC event where they had like the training that was open to the public, and then the autograph session, the meet and greet, the Super League kit reveal, which we can't get into too many details, but just like, how was the event in general? It looked like it was cool.
I think it was a really cool event and really fun. I didn't make the beginning of the like practice portion, but what I did see was really cool and really fun. They had everyone split into teams, and they were doing like different, cool like tricks and stuff, and it was really, really cool. I have to say, my biggest takeaway was I didn't know Sarah Cox had it like that. She's got techers, she's got the skills. Yeah, she was. Hey, they were like juggling. They were doing like partner juggling, and then you had to get it into the trash can. And when her and Jaber were a pair, and them together, that was like crazy. I was like, I didn't know Sarah Cox had it like that, and so that was super sick. And then they did, after everything was done, they did autographs, which was really cool. And then of course, the season ticket members got to go into the like inline club thing. And we got to see the new kits, plural.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Cool. Hey, which team won? Green or black? I know they split. Black team. I think I saw a lot of people online guessing black. I think we did too.
Yeah, I wore black in support of black today.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool that they decided to do like kind of just goofy things like for the teams to compete with, like things that I would do with my players just to have some fun every once in a while, but them still do soccer related stuff. I think that was cool, as opposed to just like I'm gonna go out there and like watch the coaches be like, okay, everybody practice this one drill for 30 minutes. So
Mhm.
kudos to them for doing something like that.
It was definitely really cool and something that I think they should continue to do in the future. I think, attendance was a little low on this, right? And I think
Mm.
just timing was probably the biggest factor. If this was maybe earlier in the season, earlier in the summer, or maybe a little bit
Mhm.
later, I know that, you guys had, back to school stuff. So that's a big
We did.
factor. And it was also, 6 o'clock, people traveling right after work and stuff. I just think, timing was probably the biggest factor for attendance. But I definitely think don't steer away from this because it was really cool. I really had fun, and I would love to see them do it again.
Yeah, we didn't with school open house. We didn't make it out for the skills challenge portion of it, but we got there while they were doing autographs. And I mean, I looked at the videos in their stories, and it looked like it was a lot of fun, and it looked like the players were having fun. So I think if we had made it out, it would have been really cool to watch. And yeah, the autograph being able to get each of the players' autographs, because sometimes you go to games and you might just get a few. That was the perfect opportunity to get autographs from every single one of the players. I saw some people bringing other things to get autographed, and I wish I had the forethought to bring like our behind me, like someone brought a flag and got an autograph. Someone had their hat autographed. I wish I had something cool that I brought with me to get autographed. Because I think that's awesome. And then yeah, the kit reveal, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I was told I can't say much about it, and we weren't allowed to take pictures. But if anyone who listens to this podcast knows like me and what I've said before, listen to this. I bought the kit. I bought the home kit, I should say. I bought the home
Dylan
kit.
never buys the kit.
I never
Yeah.
buy the kit. This was the first kit I
Never
bought.
buys the kit.
Never buy the
buys
kit.
I got one
That's
too.
Yeah. I mean, they're sweet. They're sweet.
They're
I really like the away. I'm not gonna lie. That one, like, that was cool looking, and I saw what they were going for with it. So, I think that'd be really a big hit. I think
Yeah.
so anyway.
I think so too.
It's a
The-
tough choice.
The home one will definitely be a hit for sure.
Mhm.
I think it will be for sure. The other kit, I can see either way. I'm not going to say which way I feel about it, but I could see it going either way.
Yeah. I love them both. I think it
Yeah.
will be being able to explain the inspiration behind both kits.
Oh,
They make
yes.
sense
Yeah.
once you hear the inspiration behind both kits.
Mhm.
Initial thoughts for them, you're like, huh, I wonder what inspired this. But once you hear it, you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Mhm.
So, and yeah, I'm a big fan. I like
Yeah.
when you take all of the kits for both the men and the women. I love I'll say I love the variety that we have.
It's a big variety. And I will say, like, the story thing sometimes falls flats with certain kits with with other kit providers and teams. They try and explain too much, like, hey, this is why this is this way, and this is why this is this way. And you're like, okay, look, you're digging a little too deep here. If we have to go into that much explanation, it doesn't actually make sense. But I feel like these ones, it would take like 2 words and people will be like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally see it now. And I think that's good. I think that's good execution whenever it just takes like a real quick, this is what it is. And you're like, oh, for sure. Like, I absolutely see it. I like them. I think that they're going to be baller kits. I think women won the year. If we're talking 2025, I think the
for
women
sure.
won.
And they confirmed the names and numbers on the back are going to be white. We'll be able to see.
We will be able to see them.
We will be able to see the names and numbers.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, because gosh, Kyle, you even texted about that the game you were watching from home the other night with the men's team and how you just could not see
It's
the numbers
terrible
on the back of the kits.
I mean,
it was so bad.
It's not even from like a like I guess for me, it's not really a player recognition thing. I, for the most part, know who's who based on other
Right.
how they look, whatever. Like it's more just like a brand thing, like a brand recognition thing.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's a solid black shirt and a solid. I know they're not solid, but that's what it looks like.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like if you're trying to get some outside people be like, "Ooh, that's a nice, that's cool. That's a cool kit." Like this new women's away kit is going to be like. I feel like you lose that in the broadcast because it's all washed out. And then if there
Mhm.
is someone who's watching and a kid or so like even an adult who's like trying to learn the players, like good
Mhm.
luck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
just no way. So that was like when those first came out. You can go back and listen to that podcast. I'm sure I was saying some more things, but that was like the number one issue to me.
Mhm.
And the other thing that I started thinking about that I feel like I should know because I was in charge of dealing with the OptiStats program when I was at the club, but I don't that the font mob rating, like all the stats that they garner through these like through the USL website and all that are basically done by AI and like by a
Mhm.
computer program. It's not like there's not a statistician there, right? Like on
Oh.
site
Right.
doing these. So I wonder even like that's why a lot of leagues, I came from the college athletic world. That's why a lot of leagues have requirements for jersey, like contrasting
Mm.
colors. Like you have to have dark on light, light on dark, whatever. It has to be legible from a statistician standpoint. So even from that angle, I'm like, how do these work? I don't know. It's frustrating, but
That's
Yeah.
true.
that's my tangent. I could talk too long about jersey, being legible and um, the penalties that should be invoked upon schools and teams that refuse to follow the rules. So it is
I
what
mean,
it is.
there were a
Yeah.
couple times even in the stands where I was like, who's that again? Well, and the first
Yeah.
goal, Hafferty had the header and we're like, was that Hafferty? Like, and even in the replay, you
You couldn't
couldn't
say.
clearly
Yeah.
see the back of the jersey because we were trying to remember who did it, and the replay wasn't helpful because we couldn't see what was on the jersey.
Yeah.
We kind of had to do like a process of elimination thing where like, okay, because Firmino and Hafferty have a similar like haircut now, kind of ish. I don't know, but
And stature.
yeah, and so we had to be like, oh, Firmino's there, so okay, so yeah, it was Hafferty, and so
Mhm.
but we shouldn't have to be able to, we shouldn't have to do that just to figure
Yeah.
out what's
Yeah.
going on.
Well, like I don't even know. Like obviously, the USL sets the font and everything on the jerseys. Like a lot of soccer, it's very common in soccer. You watch Premier League, you watch MLS. It's something that almost every soccer league has adopted, where they use uniform numeral font. Right? But it is interesting to me that there's no like color, guidelines, or that maybe there are,
Mhm.
and these are just passable. But it doesn't make sense to me. I'll never forget when I was in sports information, Florida Atlantic, for a football game, they had white numbers on a white jersey with just like a really thin orange outline, and they made ESPN because they were, I think they were docked like a timeout each quarter. It was a football game, so they lost a timeout
Dang.
or each half maybe. I can't remember what it was, but that was
Wow.
the first time I ever remember being like, yes, someone got called out on it. Like from a statistician standpoint, like it was always infuriating when you played those teams. And but yeah, there you go. There's some justice, but maybe not for USL. So
That reminds me, like I don't remember if it was 2 years ago or longer or what, but San Antonio had the black on black. The black kits with
yeah,
the black numbers
yeah,
and somehow got away with it. And then like the Roos last year had the white with the silver numbers and got away with it.
mhm.
And everybody's like, what are we doing? Like you cannot see any of these numbers on the pitch.
Sheesh.
Well, some coaches, it probably doesn't work for soccer, but I know some lacrosse coaches, for example, that design those jerseys as close as they can to being illegible for scouting purposes, because they don't want, because all scouting is done now on tape. It's like very rarely in person, especially like at college, because
Mm-hmm.
you have to. So you're watching a lot of these teams on tape, and so it's harder to scout a team when you don't know who's who, obviously. And so a lot of coaches will do that on purpose. And I don't know if I doubt it's like that at this level of soccer, especially because guys are recognizable without numbers now. But yeah, so there's a lot of gamesmanship, I think, that goes into picking these colors. But who knows? I think technology's far along enough now. We don't have to worry about that. Let's just make something that looks cool,
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's fair. But I can't wait for these kids to be released to the public. I'm curious to the reactions. I'm sure it'll be mixed like anything it is, but I don't know. I'm hoping for positive,
Mhm.
because I think these were a good attempt. I think that these ones were like, okay, here's some stuff that we can do that's a little bit different. So
Mhm.
we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah.
Only have to wait a couple days though, at least for one of them. I don't know if they hinted that both were getting released Wednesday, but
I think
at
they're
least
doing
one of
both.
them. Hey, there we go. Okay,
I will
perfect.
say this might not make any sense, but you all might get it. So the last Women's World Cup,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 23, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
The away kit reminds me a lot of like some of the stuff Adidas was doing for that
Hmm.
World Cup. I don't know,
I
like
could see
that was the
that.
first thing I thought of.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Especially
I agree.
with some of the away kits in the World Cup, like some of the non-traditional stuff. So very
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, I thought it was pretty dope.
Yeah.
I didn't
I'm
make
not
that
familiar
connection.
with
I don't
what
know
you're
why I thought of
referring
that first thing.
That,
Yeah,
but you're
go
right
back and
though.
look at some of those.
After you said it, I was like, okay, yes, I see what you're talking about with some of the examples I could think of. That,
Yeah,
yeah, I see
they
it
were
now.
just not the first thing you would think of, or second or third probably, but like maybe the fourth or fifth. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
that's actually
yeah.
pretty cool. Like,
You're
yeah,
like, okay, for sure. Okay, let's dig into some actual game stuff. So it's been a couple weeks since we were together. Two games have happened for the men's side. One not so good, one phenomenal. Let's kind of go back. It's in our time machine. Ooh, that's my time machine noise. I don't know if that's the right one, but we're using it. So let's go back to like this Colorado Springs game just for a second and reminisce a little bit about this game, because I think that for me it's pretty memorable, for a variety of reasons. It wasn't like one of those losses where you're like, we lost, whatever. It kind of stood out because there were a lot of things about it that you're like, what? Why is this way? What are we doing right now? I felt like going into this match, it was a winnable game. It clearly did not turn out that way. 3-1 scoreline against us. So messing up our away streak that we had, pretty bad, right? So this Colorado game, first and foremost, did not look like the present version of our team. I think we all said this, and other fans said this. It looked like how we played back when we were on our winless streak, like when we
Mhm.
were just getting losses and draws right and left. That's what this setup felt like. Now, there could be a variety of reasons why it felt this way, and causes potentially for why it was this way. But let's kind of like dig into this a little bit. So, first off, we had a little bit of a different setup on our formation, right? Our starting 18 was notably different than what we were used to seeing, right? I think everybody immediately saw that and they were like, "Wait a second, what's going on here? Why are we completely switching up our formula? What's happened all of a sudden to where we're not going with what's been tried and true?" Um,
I mean,
and
like
yeah, Dylan,
it even goes back to the Louisville game, like which was 2 weeks or like 3 weeks ago at this point. I don't know.
yeah,
Anyway,
time
like
has no meaning.
yeah, like we said the same thing when we changed the lineup. We were like we kind of felt unsure about it, and then going into that game with that lineup, we were like, seriously, what the heck is going on? And
Hmm.
then it kind of unfolded how exactly we thought it would, just because of that.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it really did. And I think one of the things from the Colorado game that really sticks out when we're talking about personnel is Brodelio is back. He'd been MIA. We saw him playing in USL Academy game against Lou City before we faced off against Lou City with our first team. So we knew he was like out there and he was making appearances on a field. But now this is our first sighting of him back in our 18 in a long time, let alone in our starting 11, which was like out of nowhere. I was really happy to see him back because I've been hoping that he could make his way back in the 18, but it was a little bit of like, I don't know, a jump scare. Like all of a sudden it's like, whoa, he's in the starting 11, even though he's been missing this whole time. Okay.
Yeah, not just like in the 18, but like starting. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no easing him in or anything. You would expect if somebody's been out of the 18 for that long, you ease them in a little bit, let them kind of roll. And I really wanted him to have an awesome game because I like his playing style. But I think that in this game, and this isn't going to be picking on him because, I mean, there's plenty to talk about out of every performance, but he was kind of quiet in this match. And I think it showed that he wasn't quite ready to just be thrown into the starting 11 yet. He needed a little bit of like a warm-up period to kind of ease back into things. You know, and beyond that, I mean, we have our new guy. We have Blaine Ferry. He's in the mix. Like we picked him up from Tulsa, which was cool. I think he's been really impressive for us, even though we lost in that match. And then, you know, he featured for us in our most recent one, and we can kind of get into him. But he did really great for us. So I don't know. It was interesting, and especially when you start digging into the 18 and like Kieran Sargent's on the bench. We're used to him starting, so that was kind of like, what's going on there? We were missing Epps. Epps wasn't even in the 18, so that was a little bit of a head scratcher. And it's like, is he hurt? Same thing with Sophie. Sophie's nowhere to be found. Is he hurt? What's going on there? So a lot of questions for this one. So you start kind of like wondering, like, okay, was going back to this old game plan part of the game plan the whole time, or was it a reaction to the personnel available?
I mean, that's kind of what we talk about all the time is like, was this a change out of necessity or like just a coach's decision? And I think we said this about the Louisville game as well. Like the coach's decisions just weren't on point. Like, you know, the lineup and the substitutions that were made. And this kind of rolled into it and kind of like compounding the two. You're like, what is going on with the team that we saw have so much success? You know, that streak that we had, the unbeaten streak, and, you know, with that lineup and all these guys. And then we just kind of move away from that. And then we lose, right? And it was just, you know, I bring up head scratchers all the time. This was a big head scratcher. Like, what the heck, you know, was going on here? And we just talk about it. The way we used to play, Tyler, you brought this up just a little bit ago. The way we used to play just didn't work for us. And then we moved to a different, you know, style of play, and that's working for us. And then we go back to how we were playing, which didn't work, and it still doesn't work, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess like one of my biggest questions too is like, when we do that, is it because of personnel availability, or is that like the default style that at the end of the day Boss really wants to push towards? And that is kind of the puzzle that I'm trying to solve, because it's kind of like a little bit of a conundrum, right? Because if that's how Boss truly wants us to eventually play, my problem with that is it's not been working, no matter what personnel we're rolling out. If it's a matter of, well, we don't have the personnel to play like fast and furious, so we got to play a little bit more conservative, slow ball, grandpa ball, like I like to call it, then the problem there is, how come we have such a talented roster, but if you have to swap a couple guys out, we cannot continue to play aggressive? And all of a sudden we have to play like, okay, let's hope that they don't take the ball from us and counterattack and score. And both of those are equally problematic in my book. Because it's like, if we spent this much effort and money, and we keep bringing in guys, we keep bringing in new people all the time, so we spend that much time and effort and money, it should be that we can switch out anybody and hold our style of play. It shouldn't be that we're like, well, we don't have the right guys, so now we have to play conservative and be really, really slow and methodical and hope that we can build things up. Because like we saw against Colorado, you do that methodical style of play, and then every single player for the opposition can just go park the bus, They can just go set up a low block while you're building up your play, and then you're trying to carve through 11 people within like a 15 to 20 yard space, and that just doesn't work. Like unless you are just precision incarnate, like you are the embodiment of precision, and everybody's clicking like you wouldn't believe, you're not going to have success with that. So I don't know. It's a little unsettling, because then I can't really think of a third option. And maybe one of you guys can, or maybe somebody out there thinks of like a third reason why we do what we do. But those are the two that immediately come to my mind and make me wonder, like, but why? But why?
It was the game against Kyle. I feel like the game against Colorado definitely made me second guess, because there are times where like, oh, we're good now. That game made me second guess, like, were these wins?
Yeah,
A fluke?
I'm with you, Jeff.
Like, are we really good? Or, yeah, I don't know. And then I feel like Phoenix kind of renewed that a little bit. Or it's Phoenix made it we can be good if we stay away from what we did at the Colorado game.
And, Kyle, I'm sorry you want to get your point, but Tyler, you're talking about, is it the coach's decision or is it roster construction? Like, is it personnel thing, right? We put ourselves in this like big conundrum, right? Because we lean heavily on these lone players too, that are supposed to be like the best. And we'll use Michael as an example. Is he our best player right now? Probably. I would say so, right? He gets consistently player of the match, for our fans for voting and stuff. But what are we without him, right? Like, without him, I feel like we don't have that much like go power, right? We're not getting in forward with the ball. He provides crosses that are accurate, right? He is very good at one-on-ones with people. We saw him beat people many times in the game against Phoenix, with his one-on-one ability. So the roster construction, going back to Dadekin, he's on loan. So, like, where does that put us out into the future, right? And, like, if he's not available, who steps up? And, Tyler, you're saying the people who step up aren't necessarily putting the exact performance we're getting with the normal starting lineup. So we really have put ourselves in this big conundrum.
Kylo?
Yeah, no, I was actually just trying to look up some of the Dadekin's like latest just performances, because he is like kind of a straw that stirs the drink now, where it's like it felt like that was kind of the Goldthorpe role early on, where it was like, man, nothing's working, but at least that's working early. At least he's trying some things. But to me, it's like it's kind of a blend of what you were saying, Tyler, about like just a lack of quality depth. And I especially think quality depth like up front when it comes to playmakers. Like I think Iago, however you want to pronounce it, depending on who's doing commentary, the ongoing joke, and Burke, like you have like some true nines, right? And then you have Dadekin, and I think we all love Alfredo watching him play, but it's like and Epps too. Obviously the missing Epps in Colorado seemed to be an issue. Working against this theory that I think it's these four guys working together up top is the fact that Medins didn't play in Phoenix, or against Phoenix, I should say. It was in Lexington, but and obviously still had a good result. But yeah, it's just, to me, it's like you're relying on one of those three playmakers in Epps, Medins, and a Dadekin to create, and there's not a lot behind them. And I think we've maybe expected a little bit more, and from an offensive standpoint, from Firmino, and there's other guys I think that maybe we put a little bit more stock into to help on that end of the pitch, and just not how it's worked out. So I feel like we got to get one of those three attacking midfielders. We need fantastic performances from one of them, and then setting up our two big strikers to put it away. But I don't know. It just seems like maybe there's not a lot of options behind the starting 11, especially up front.
Yeah, that's fair. And, it's interesting to me as well that with Colorado, when we faced them, we didn't have Sophie. And I think this is one of those games that maybe highlighted his importance as well, like not having him in the midfield as somebody to kind of help with the control. He does a lot in regards to helping with the defense and distribution, and he can get in the attack if he needs to. And I think that this maybe made me appreciate him even more than what I did before whenever he wasn't there to kind of lead the charge with that. Because we had, Ferry out there, he's doing great. Firmino's back there, usually paired with Sophie. But I do think that he maybe was one of those pieces that I'm like, it would have been really great to have him out there doing his thing. It was just interesting to me, and it just frustrates me because I know as a coach, you have to change things based on who's available because everybody has a different playing style. Even if they play the same position as somebody else, like a winger for a winger doesn't necessarily translate 100%. And that's understandable. It really is. I just was really hoping that, we would have a roster with as much as we've invested in building a roster where you could be like, look, this is our style and we're playing this style. And if you're going to be the next man up, you have to be able to play that style. And it really was a bummer to see us go so slow and just let Colorado hold control for that whole match. It was frustrating. It was a boring,
It was so boring.
ugly match of soccer. It was just ugly. And you have coaches out there that find success with ugly soccer, like Bob Lilly, who's like a legend in the championship. He makes results happen. His games aren't necessarily going to be pretty and flashy, but he's going to get results from it. And I just don't think we can play that style. I think that we have to be aggressive and we have to do our thing and go out there and just take it to these other teams and not give them any breathing room. And, if we don't have the depth to play that way, then I don't know why we keep cycling through players. We keep loaning everybody out, getting rid of people, and then bringing new people in. But then we still don't have the depth to keep that type of intensity that we've shown actually works. I mean, that is our brand. I don't know how much further you have to look. All of our successes come from games where we've been hyper aggressive and up in other teams' faces because it just puts them off. I mean, they can't handle it, and we have the talent to do so. My hope is, if this was all because player injuries or just wear and tear because road matches, they build up, great. I just hope everybody can stay healthy from here, or we can at least find a great formula to say, okay, in the eventuality that this happens to another player on the team, here's how we adapt. And here's the expectation when I put you on the field. It's not revert back to safe ball, which really isn't safe because every time we play that way, we get dominated. Like it just doesn't work out in our way. And I think when you juxtapose this match with our most recent game against Phoenix, it proves it. Like, I mean, did you guys ever feel in that Phoenix game that we were not in control?
No.
No, I didn't.
I would say in the first couple minutes, it just felt like we didn't have our footing in the first few minutes. It felt like Phoenix was trying to install a low block and make it hard for us, but eventually that turned around.
Yeah. And I think sometimes that happens just in games in general. Like the first couple of minutes, everybody's let's get into our groove and stuff. But you're right, that's fair. But I mean, the whole thing, I just felt like we were just working them over. Like, I mean, they had their chances. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the other team's always going to have a chance here and there in a match, unless you're on Atletico Madrid. But you're going to have your chances no matter who you are in a match, no matter what opposition you're facing. But in this game, it never really felt that threatening. I think there was maybe 2 times where I'm like, that was a pretty decent shot. That might have done something. And that's really all you need sometimes. But I just felt like we were, I don't want to say toying with them, but our players were playing very fast and free, which I keep saying that's, I think we all agree on this. That's our brand, fast and free. You let these players be creative and let them move the ball and do their thing with pace. I mean, we're going to work teams over. And I think that was happening. I mean, you saw so many of our players just juking their players right and left. Like they were slipping all over the place because they just could not keep up. And I think it's just because we were really comfortable in that style and in that moment. I don't think it's all of a sudden everybody, was like, all right, I have new skills that I'm going to test in this match. Like they were already there. They just had the comfort and the freedom to do those things. I mean, you even think about Adedikin. I don't know how many times he like broke somebody's ankles. I just kept watching it over and over and over again. Anybody who went up against him, he was taking them out. And I think in the Discord, somebody even mentioned, they're like, man, I don't know. I really like Adedikin, but sometimes I feel like his 1v1s, he could maybe take people on a little bit more. He must have read that or something, or had an informant
for sure
in the Discord, because this match, he was like, you want to see me 1v1 people? Let's do this. And he wasn't the only one. I don't know. I mean, when you look at these two matches, what does it make you feel or think about what we need to do going forward?
I mean, Tyler, you're like already right there. Like when we let our players Michael, when we let him just be free and be himself, that's when we play really well. When we let guys just like go out there and be really talented soccer players, that's when we play really well. But when we go back to like the rigid old grandpa ball, and it's like, all right, let's be methodical and slow about it, it doesn't work. We just have to like let the guys go on the field and do their thing because they're super talented already.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's just allowing for more creativity, like in that sense. So yeah, I mean, Dylan nailed it. I think it's just letting your best players, they're really letting your players just flourish a little bit more and maybe have some more creativity.
And something that stands out to me with this too is I think a little bit of an eyebrow raiser for the match that we just played against Phoenix. No Medense. Medense was not in the 11. He was in the 18, but not in the 11, which again could be wear and tear, could have picked up a knock. I don't know. But we didn't see him at all throughout this match.
Surprised.
But yeah, me too, right? I figured for sure at some point he would pop in, maybe after halftime. But in a little bit of a way, it was kind of a confidence builder that we did what we did to Phoenix without him. Because when we look at our players on the team, I don't think you can really argue that there's anybody that's more slick with the ball at their feet than he is. It's kind of insane watching him cook out there.
He can beat three people by himself.
Yes, and it looks so easy.
Yes.
It looks so easy. It just looks like it's just a matter of fact for him to just do these things he does. And so having somebody like him who is so fluid and comfortable on the ball and impactful when we're on the attack, but then we don't see him play at all, but still manage to dominate a team like we did with Phoenix, that won me back some confidence in what we're doing and what our game plan is. I went from feeling like, why are we reverting? Why is it this way? Just because we had to switch out a couple of players, to being like, okay, we're back in action. I still have some reservations because we were kind of back to our normal starting 11, put quotations around that, but our normal starting 11 that we'd gotten used to seeing success with, minus a couple changes. So a little bit of a grain of rice that you have to take that with, but grain of salt, grain of rice. I don't know. I'm getting my idioms mixed up. Sorry. I'm like sitting here thinking like,
Tyler, you're the idiom. I mean, come on.
I know. I love rice. I had that for lunch and dinner. So it's in my mind right now. I think though that I still have that question. What happens next time when we lose one or two of these guys? Are we going to just fall back and say, let's weather the storm and it not really be successful? Are we going to rise to the occasion? I have some hesitations about that. I'm glad that we're doing what we're doing. I'm glad that we are where we are. And I mean, we've also not seen, we got a new guy, right, on loan from Colorado, I believe, Kamani Stewart. So he's with us now. He's been in the 18 the last couple games. We've not seen him yet. Maybe he's somebody that could kind of fill that role whenever we need it. But I do think that these are one of those things that when you start seeing any type of success for your team and you start wondering about things like playoffs or just even getting through a long season, you get a little bit scared, right? You start thinking, what happens if we get right at the playoff line and we actually do make it into the playoffs, but then a couple of our starters aren't available. Do we have the firepower to actually fill those roles and take us where we want to be? And I really enjoy all the players that we regularly see in the 18. I think they do have a lot to offer. I don't think it's like for like, though. And I feel like we have to find a way to use that and say, like, okay, you may not be a carbon copy of each other, but even if things go bad and we lose player A, player B, when you come in, here's how we kind of structure the system to keep this fire blazing. We have to. We can't just let it just go by the wayside and snuff out. We have to actually keep that momentum. So there are questions. I'm happy that we're back to what we should be and have been doing that's found success. I still am just kind of like holding my breath for what happens next time that we're in that type of situation.
Brooks Thompson gets another clean sheet.
Oh, yeah.
He does
true.
indeed. Yeah.
I mean, like, I've been, a huge champion of him all season, and I'll just like keep saying it every podcast, when we win and he's behind, he's the one in goal. It just feels right,
Yeah. I will say like this one, because I even thought I was like, oh man, we didn't put him up for player of the match, but
You
I mean,
didn't
it was
have to do
kinda,
anything.
yeah, it was
You
nice,
didn't have to
right?
do
Yeah,
anything,
I was
yeah.
thought about it. And I was like,
Mhm.
he didn't have to do a whole lot, but that's a
No.
good problem to have. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sure he was super grateful that he was like, I mean, I only had to make a couple saves, and that's really it, and just kind of all business from there. I mean, we were really, really stout on our control. Just Phoenix could not figure it out, and every time they thought they could figure it out, it wasn't figured out. It was just false hope. It was a really nice win. Some people were asking, like, was this our best win that we've had, or a best game? I guess I should say. They were asking if it was our best game. I think it was an amazing game. If I say like our best game, it's probably when we went down to 10 against Sacramento and held them off. Like, because I
That was
feel
my
like
thought
that.
too.
Yeah, for me, like that game was like pure grit, pure
Yeah.
hustle, pure you are not getting these points off of us.
Yeah.
And I think that's when you like show what type of team you are. Now, this was a great one. Don't get me wrong. And everybody was firing on all cylinders. This is what you want to see. And this is what you talk about when you say this was a team win. I don't really think that there was one player that truly actually carried the entirety of our success. I mean, there were plenty that showed out, like Adetikin, he was showing out, right? But I feel like this is one where you can easily be like, everybody was doing their job. Everybody did the role like they were supposed to, and it came out right. And so props for that. But yeah, if I had to choose like the game, not really win, right? But the game that showed me like, whoa, we're a team that can actually come together and just be unstoppable was that Sacramento one when we just battened down the hatches and we're like, you're not getting this.
One thing that I do think helped us against Phoenix was the previous games. Zenge has been a liability on defense. I hate to kind of just like point him out like that, but there were multiple goals that were like directly his fault. And then getting him out of the lineup and have someone else start in that position and kind of like build the team back to confidence and stuff. And I think that was really good for our defense. And like you said, Tyler, the defense was so good that Brooks didn't even have to do anything this game. Like it was just a really good whole team effort, from bottom to the top.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel you like Zenge, I really like his style of play and I like what he offers on defense and attack. I think that he's really versatile and I think he's earned his chance to be in the 18 at very minimum. But I would agree there's been a little bit of a dip in the last couple games for him. And I think that's why in this most recent one, we may not have seen him in the mix as much, right? It might have been like, hey, we just need to kind of get you right, get somebody else in there, right the ship for both you and the team. And then we'll kind of revisit this, because I really like him as a player. I think he's a super genuine, nice dude. But sometimes you need that. Sometimes you just need like a break out of that starting role to get your mind right and kind of reevaluate and get back in there at some point. Because I'd love to see him back in the mix. He's somebody that I think can really surprise people on the field. I feel like sometimes people are like, wait a second, where did he even come from? Is he the one that delivered that ball? Is he the one that just did that? Which is kind of cool to have on the team. It's nice. I just right now with us having so many loanees, Dylan, you mentioned this, like we have so many loanees, so many people we've brought in, and we just brought in the new one, like Stuart, that I just mentioned. So my real problem, and I think many fans have voiced this, we've talked about it ourselves too, is what happens when one of these teams says, we want them back. We want them back now, because that can happen. And that's the other thing that scares me. Whenever we saw that performance against Colorado, what happens if a couple of those guys are gone all of a sudden because their main team says, you know what, we're recalling that loan, and then we have to scramble to figure things out. I just really hope that if we're going to have all these loanees and they're finding this much success with us, we have plans to put a little bit of money in their team's pocket to keep them. And I understand that it's been said before, like our whole goal is to develop players, make a name for them, and then move them on. But I think we have lots of players that we brought in as loans that could really help us in the next couple years, build some true momentum as a club. And then from that point, maybe you say, hey, look what they've done for the past 3 years. What price would you like to pay to have them play for you now? It's just, and it also, it's great in the sense that we were able to get them, but also from a scouting standpoint, it's kind of almost like somebody already did your scouting. Somebody already said they're an MLS level talent. And so, of course, you're going to say, well, it's a great idea to sign this MLS level talent. It's somewhat concerning that, we have so many people that are impacting our games regularly in that boat. And then the guys that are still doing their jobs and still are great. We have plenty of awesome players like Joe Haverty. We have, Kendall Burks. Like we have all these players, Sophie's out there that are our player. But it just freaks me out a little bit to be reliant on such an unsure thing. But hey, maybe I just don't know the dealings behind the door. Maybe we're locked in for the whole season. Maybe there is no chance of a recall. I don't know, but that's usually not how those things work. So it scares me for on down the road, because you just never know. You never do.
I completely agree. I think the strategy is extremely short-sighted, right? I think on this podcast, we always talk about consistency leading to long-term success. And the strategy that the front office has employed is a win now mentality. And that sounds really exciting, right? Win now. But where are we right now in the table? What has our record been? And where is that going to leave us later on in the season with these loan players that, we're really Sargent is getting a lot of good minutes, right? And his team is probably going to want him back. And they'll probably recall him. And if they don't play him, they'll probably sell him to someone else who really, really wants him. I just don't know if what we're doing is that long-term smart, right? I can't see Montreal not wanting Idedikin. You know what I mean? It's crazy to me. And then for us to also be bringing in people mid-season, and we saw this last year too. We were bringing in people mid-season, and it's just it's like Pokemon. You got to catch them all, right? And Pokemon, you got to balance your team. You can't have all the same type, right? It's crazy. I just think what the front office does is it's a head scratcher.
I agree. I'm trying to have my Pikachu for the next 30 years and then win the championship.
Exactly.
Well, and as a fan, trying to decide, okay, what players do I, get excited about and really put effort in, understanding how they play and how they fit in with the club, only to be oh, well, who knows if they're going to actually be here, when, and there are some people that probably come to games to watch specific players versus just the team as a whole. And yeah, so the unknown and the uncertainty of how long someone might be with the club, I feel like makes it difficult to, really get excited about certain people.
Yeah, that's fair. And I just try and at this point be like, look, I'm going to enjoy it while they're here. And I'm going to trust that hopefully the club has a plan and that they're saying look, if these people are performing, we are going to dig into those pocketbooks and then see what we can do. And that's not a guarantee. Like these clubs could be like, no way, you don't have enough money for this person. And that's highly possible for some of them. I just hope that we have a plan to be like, look, when it comes down to it, here's our plan for trying as much as we can, because I think we do have some players this year that I think could really, after a couple years with this club, could not only be reaching that club icon status, but also win us some stuff. Like after a little bit, they could potentially win us some stuff. And I think we have a lot of guys that play really hard for us. I think that we have a lot of people that know that they're really appreciated here. At least I hope they know that, because I feel like the fans are trying to be like, look, we're watching you every week, and I got your name on my kits, and I'm just trying to enjoy the ride while we have it. I guess even more so than losing them, though, I just want to make sure that we are prepared if that happens, and that it's not just, okay, here's who we do have, let's just kind of see what happens. And again, all our guys on our team are very talented. I just think that it's shown, as of recent at least, that when we lose a couple key players, we kind of scramble as to what it is that our identity is going to be, or our game plan is going to be. Our execution seems to take a different turn. And I just don't like that. I don't like that whenever your team is dependent too much on one or two players to play a style. I think if you're going to choose to play a style as a club, you have to have the personnel that no matter what, that's our style. That's what we're doing. And there's no a team sees us coming and they're like, oh, whew, we got away with one. They don't have a Dedekin today, or they don't have Medinse today, or they don't have, Ferry today. Whoever it is, I don't want clubs to see that and say, hey, guess what? They're just going to play slow ball today and just hope they get through this match. I want them to be like, well, they might be missing this person, but this person's about to slot in and it doesn't even matter. They're going to keep this up, and I totally get, tweaking your style for who you're facing. But I don't know. I don't know that that's what that was with Colorado. It did not feel like this is how we beat Colorado. To me, it felt like this is how we have to play against Colorado because of the situation. And it really bit us. And I could be wrong. I could be completely off base, but that's just the impression it gave.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
That Medinse's goal, though, was fantastic. So
yeah, that was really,
it was. And he almost had that other one.
Piss missile.
Yeah,
for sure.
He almost had that other one that was, oh my gosh, that free kick that he took. And it was just, oh, what a save to stop that, though. I got to give their keeper props. That would look like it was going to go in all the way. Yeah, he wanted one bad. I'm glad he got that off the second try, though, because you could tell that he was just like, how did he even save that? There's no way. But definite props to him on that goal. So what we did, some predictions, right? Because somebody asked us in our episode a couple weeks ago. We don't have to get into it right now because I know that we have to actually look it up. I don't have it in front of me.
Well, we're not done yet. We're still going through it.
Yes.
So
I will say that we're all looking okay, because we all did not predict 0 points for our Western opponents coming up. So you know what? 3 points off of this one. That's a good one. Trending okay for our predictions. We'll have to maybe get into that in the next episode and kind of check our standings based on what we were asked and see where we're falling with all this. So I just want to touch 2 real quick. So out of our couple of new guys that we added in, Blaine Ferry, he came in kind of out of the blue and immediately jumps into the team. Let's kind of see how he does in the 18. He's ready to go. He's in the starting 11. What are you guys' thoughts on him? Because clearly he's taken on a pretty decent role with the team, at least so far in the last 2 matches.
It was interesting that he was just slotted right in that Colorado match. To me, obviously to be fair, I watched obviously the Colorado match and the most recent match just streaming. Just seemed to have a very, I mean, it was, I feel like it's kind of hard to tell against Phoenix because I agree with you, Tyler. It seemed like not only was everyone playing really well, but it just seemed like the club, like Lexington was just better that night. And
Yeah.
I mean, on Atletico Madrid, we could have slotted a few people in, and Lexington still might have won. You know, like they were just clicking, but just very solid.
Yeah.
You know, seems like a very good connector at midfield. Was just deadly accurate passes. Like I'm not sure if he, you know, really ever gave the ball away. So just in the position, you know, in the midfield where I feel like have had some inconsistency and some issues connecting and breaking lines to the attacking third. I thought he was solid, but I'll also say that, you know, that's watching on the ESPN Plus broadcast. That's, you know, not quite as locked in as being at the stadium.
I feel you. He had like one little like giveaway, I think, in the Phoenix match, but he hustled to make it right. It was like at the top of the box. That's the only time I like saw it, and you saw it on his face. He was like, "Oh, I got to win that back." He definitely didn't give it up, but I think you make a good point about him being like a nice, connecting, calm presence.
I feel like sometimes I don't always see him on the field with everything going on. I feel like sometimes he's not necessarily the like focal point of the team, and so he kind of just like cleans up things. And you know he is a good connector, and you know that's why other people are getting the shine. He's doing kind of like the dirty work a little bit. I don't think I necessarily have seen enough of him to necessarily say one way or the other how I feel about him. I do feel like he can offer some things. I think he's probably good at some like set pieces and free kicks. He seemed like pretty good. His corner taking ability, like he seems like he can do it, but I still really prefer the people we have been using, like Sargent and Michael on corners. So
he's essentially the Speedy Williams replacement, right? Like that's kind of what it looks like.
It's true, and it's like his presence there. It just kind of, this has come off bad, but it seems like Speedy's kind of gotten pushed down a little bit further down the pecking order, because that's what I think of. I feel like what we were expecting from Speedy, with it being like calm, veteran presence, I'm here to help control things. That's what Blaine is offering. And Speedy can do it. It just feels like, for whatever reason, they felt that we needed to bring in some extra help in that role. And I mean, this is one of those times where we say, like, hey, you need a player that can kind of mimic what another player does. And sometimes it doesn't always work out being like for like. And I feel like this time it is like for like. But so far, I'm pretty impressed with what I've seen from Blaine.
And he's kind of more in a CDM role, right?
Yeah.
Would you say? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm kind of with Dylan. One, haven't seen enough. I mean, we just have 2 games of him so far. And 2, completely agree that he's just more in the background and doesn't really stand out to me, but that probably is a testament to the work he is doing and is, you know, still really performing well. It's just he's not in one of those really big flashy roles, you know. So he's just kind of in the background a little more.
Yeah,
in my mind.
I would say, like, unless he scores or like has multiple assists, it would be really hard for people to be like, oh yeah, he had a great game, just because like what he does is like understated.
Yeah.
I really do like the pairing of him that we saw with Phoenix with Sophie, because I think that's really cool, because Sophie's a little bit more aggressive. You know, Blaine can play fast and kind of be all over the place if he needs to, but I feel like he's very much more like the take a breath. Let's do this, you know, let's control this area. And that kind of lets Sophie do his thing a little bit more, where he's like really, really aggressive on and off the ball. So I think it's a neat pairing that I'm interested to see how that develops, and especially if they do continue to be a little bit of a pair in that area, because for a long time we saw that we would have Firmino and Sophie. That's kind of been the new thing, which I like that as well, because Firmino's much more aggressive in the sense that he's kind of more of the attacking style, center midfielder, and Sophie plays a little bit more defensively. But seeing him and Blaine together, it's interesting seeing Sophie get to be a little bit more freed up. At least in this most recent match, that's what it felt like. I do feel like he's a signing, because I'm not gonna lie. At first, I saw he's coming from Tulsa, and I'm like, what is the deal with us just like trading back and forth with Tulsa? Like, I know like Sam Doer comes from Tulsa, but it's just so funny like how many players. It's just like, okay, we're gonna send you this person, you send us this person. Dylan, you're talking about Pokemon. I feel like we're doing Pokemon card trades.
Yeah.
Give you my Charizard for your Blastoise.
Shadow Commissioner.
Yeah. But I think this is one that I feel hopeful for. I feel like I liked what I've seen so far. And as you guys said, he still has to stand the test of time. We still have other matches that we need to see him in and kind of see how that evolves, because we've seen that already with this team, where we'll have a player out on the field and they have a couple of really good games and then kind of stumble a little bit or can't quite keep that same momentum. And then we see them, shuffled out and somebody new, pops in. We try that out a little bit, but I'm hopeful that he can be somebody that like, all right, we can lean on you.
It's interesting to see how much we've used him already comparatively to other people we have signed. And then only like I feel like we haven't seen enough of him either, to be honest. And we still haven't seen Dylan Borzak either.
Yeah.
And he's still
been
on the team
with us from the beginning.
Yeah. Like, I just don't know. Like, there's so many moving pieces.
It's true. It's just constant change. And I know that happens in the sport, but it's a little weird even for us though, because, we're not used to that much change. We saw some people come in late last year, but I don't think we saw near as much shuffling. Not even close. And so it's hard to wrap your brain around all the coming and going. You're like, oh, wait, who just left? And now who do we have? Wait, that guy's still on the roster? Wait, where'd they go?
Yeah.
And it's just a whole lot to keep track of. And I totally get, playing a little bit mad scientist and, you test things out, you bring people in, you're like, okay, that worked, but that didn't. But I hope that we can kind of just take a breath and solidify, and here we are. But I guess we'll see if that happens. It probably will. We'll probably have a new signing in 2 weeks, and then somebody else will go on loan, or somebody will get transferred. I
am kind of interested to see what will happen with Dylan Borzak, because we don't know anything. This is purely speculation, but I feel like I've seen on social media a few more like highlight reels being shared by him. So I'm like, is he looking? Because he's not getting any minutes? Is he might be trying to transfer or get loaned out, whatever it might be. That's just me guessing based off what I've seen. But I wouldn't blame him.
Feel that way. No. Yeah, I would probably do the same in his position. You're on a team from the beginning and you see new signee after new signee join, and they're like, hey, you're probably not going to make it into the 18 ever. Like, that would be kind of a bummer. So I really don't blame him, because sure, he's still getting paid, but then he's not playing. And so then after this year, who's going to pick up somebody that sat around for a year and you didn't get to see anything from them? That does not bode well for your career, especially when you're a young guy. We talked about this last year a lot, hiding the young guys on the bench, never to be seen. And it's like, what's the point of having them then? Like, you just never ever going to use them, and keep bringing in other people over top of them. At that point, transfer them, let them go find success somewhere. Not that we don't want him on the team. I'd love to see what he has, here in green. But it's very clear that he's not part of our plan, at least not now. That's a weird one. You're right, though. It is very, very suspicious. So, I don't know. Well, I hope that we keep up this momentum and this attacking minded, fast paced, free style of play. We can't go back. We talked about this. We got a bunch of Western opponents. We got our rematch with San Antonio coming up next, and we're there. We got to pay them back. Gosh, that's still one of those games I look back to, and I'm like, if we could just take that one back. That one right there.
Is that the one where we were tied 2-2 and they scored literally in the last second?
And at first we were up 2-0.
Yeah.
You're right though. That last one came out of nowhere.
Frustrating. Yeah, they scored, and then it was like, well, and and I think that was another one too, where we're like, wasn't the stoppage time this? And it's like,
I think that was Loudon. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think that was when we played Loudon. Yeah, but you're right. That was the weird, like, give them 20 minutes of stoppage time off of 7 announced or whatever it was. So that's we got to pay San Antonio back though, for sure. And it'd be even sweeter to do it at their house, which is where we're going to be this next match. So then we got them, and then we got Oakland and Las Vegas. So 3 more Western Conference matches, only one of which is at home. Those are a big deal. I think we need to kind of keep the pedal down. Like we have to keep this going because we're getting to that point in the season where it's like you can't be losing points after we lost so many points at the beginning. Like we need every single one we can get if we're going to do something about this. But we'll see. I feel confident if we play the way we played against Phoenix. If we just are clicking, have that game plan set in place, I think we'll be okay. Just no grandpa ball. No more grandpa ball. I can't do it anymore. I can't do the grandpa ball. We have to leave that wherever we need to leave it. I don't care because we can't see it ever again. Aside from that, the women's team is about to take the field too. It feels like it has been 84 years, even though it realistically was like the shortest off season.
Yeah.
It was not that long of an off season at all. But they're already going to be back in action, the 23rd for their away game. And then they're going to be at home on the 7th of September. So we're almost there. We're almost back into this whole every team playing. Well, not every, because 2 and W is over, but you get it. Our 2 main teams are going to be playing, so I'm super psyched to see them take the field. I know that a while back I was prognosticating about our starting lineup, which is absolutely, I'm sure, very, very wrong. So I am very excited to see what it actually is and what they all do. And congrats. One thing we do know, Taylor Ulmer, she's going to be our captain for this year. So that's a little bit of a switch up. Congrats to her. I think that kind of shows that at least I had one starter right because I had her in my starting lineup. So if she's captain, I'm assuming she's going to be out there. But I'm curious to see who else we have out there as our starting 11, at least to test things out. Of course, the first few weeks that's going to change, but I think it'll be really cool to see this stuff evolve. And I'm very excited for the season. So make sure you guys are ready. That's not that far away. It'll be here before we know it. And then we have double soccer all the time.
Woo.
Except for like those nights that stink whenever it's like, yeah, they're playing at the exact same time. Have fun trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
It's such a bummer. I get it though. I get it. You can't really avoid it. But then I'm like sitting there dying as I'm watching one in real time. And the other one, I'm like, shh, phone. Quiet, phone. Don't say things, phone. Don't tell me what happened, phone. And it does it anyway. Because then I forget my watch is telling me. And I'm like, who texted me? And it's like, oh, Lexington scored. And I'm like, oh. That's good news, but still.
Well, actually, their first game will be during the men's home game against Oakland.
Yeah. See, there we go.
So
they're already doing it to us. Already. Gosh. You know what? I don't even need replays at the stadium. I think we've even said this before on here. Just put the women's game up on the 2 screens. Just do that. We don't even need replays. We don't need like the chance to be shown. Just put those up there. Whenever there isn't crossover between the 2, then you can go back to the replays and the live feed. But put the women's team up there.
Or go into have the team shop have both live streams going, so you could just stand in the middle and watch both. There you go.
Yeah, and then Leslie be like, "You buying something today?" And I'm like, "Maybe." Just give me 90 minutes to figure it out. Stop hassling me. Although I will say, if we do like the women's team up on the big screens, it'll be hella confusing if like the women score and everybody's like, ah, and then nothing's happening during the men's match. Everybody's like, what?
Why are we
Imagine, like,
cheering for this player that's down right now getting treated by the trainer?
I know. And everyone's like, no, not that. The other thing. And they're like, sure, buddy. What a sicko. Can't believe you're cheering for this injury right now. And they're like, no, it's the goal. I swear. Oh,
But-
man.
And I think we pointed this out already, but the home game against Brooklyn, I think we've already mentioned this, but we'll get to see Shin again.
Shin. Yep.
It's gonna be really
Shin-a-me.
hard cheering for Lexington and Shin.
It'll be our shinemy that day. That's okay. We always have a soft spot. You like that, Dylan. It's okay. Don't shake your head. You know that was good. Came to me in a dream. But then yeah, we can go back to normal. We could be friends after that match again. I do hate that she's wearing a different jersey though. That's a bummer. Is what it is. We'll always have Dylan's pink kit that we can look at and remember fondly of when she was wearing the right shade of green and color in general, because they don't wear green. I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh man. But anyway, we got lots of games coming up. Kit release soon after you listen to this. Maybe you listen to it next Wednesday for some weird reason, and it already happened a week ago, and you feel like you're in a time machine. I don't know, but I'm super excited to see what our kits look like for the women's team. That'll be really great. I'm preparing what little funding I have. I'm gonna go like shake out my kids' piggy banks while they're asleep. Check old pockets for any cash that happen to be hidden in them.
Who needs
I
a
don't
college
know.
savings plan anyways?
Yeah, whatever. Like, they don't even need that. I'll teach them like plumbing or something. I've replaced the toilet once. That'll get them by forever. It'll be fine. But anything I'm missing? I miss things a lot. You promise? Okay. Because once I start doing the outro, don't say, Tyler, you missed it. Oh, wait, Kyle, did you have something to say about Crystal Palace?
No, just sad.
Just sad. Just sad.
Just sad.
Yeah, just sad. Just sad.
It's fine.
That's okay. It's all right.
It's
buddy.
fine.
It'll be
We'll
fine.
finish 12th again, and it'll be a fun season. Got Chelsea
least
up
you
first, so 3 points easy, and then we'll go from there.
Against the
Yeah.
world champions? No way, bro.
Yeah. Well, at least you did not sign Jack Grealish, and you're going to finish 13th with Jack Grealish on your payroll. Like us. That's us. We're going to do that. Sadly. Anyway. All right, everybody. Make sure you get out, support the team, watch it. Anytime that we have the Jack Browns get-togethers, go out to those. I know some of them are really late. Maybe Destiny will smile upon us and we'll get some earlier games here before too long. And then everybody can get out there and have a good time, eat some fantastic burgers, hang out watching LSC, cheering on all of these teams that we got taking the field here soon. Until then, you know what it is. Come on, you Greens.